The Marvel Cinematic Universe has its fair share of immensely powerful Avengers, but few would stand a chance fighting the awesome might of Sentry. Introduced in Thunderbolts*, Sentry is a near-godlike being with immense strength, speed, and more, along with a dangerously unstable mind. As such, not every Avenger from the MCU timeline would stand a chance in a fight against him. Among the most powerful members, though, some could, at the very least, put up a good fight. In the comics, Sentry is often described as having the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns, and his MCU debut in Thunderbolts hints at that terrifying potential. With powers ranging from Superman-level strength to molecular manipulation and psionics, he's an overwhelming force. Sentry's powers in Thunderbolts* are kept specifically vague, but he appears to retain the majority of his comic book abilities, including telepathic and telekinetic abilities. Meanwhile, the Void's darkness manipulation effortlessly reduces people to shadows. Hulk can only really fight Sentry in close combat. Hulk's powers are physical and strength-based. The Hulk is one of the most physically powerful Avengers in the MCU, and his strength only grows with his rage. He's taken on gods, like Thor and Loki, massive threats, like the Chitauri Leviathan, and even wielded an infinity gauntlet. However, when it comes to a fight with Sentry, Hulk's main strength, brute force, would be both his asset and his limitation. Sentry's physical strength in the MCU, as shown in Thunderbolts*, is comparable to Hulk's at his peak. However, Sentry adds flight, speed, energy projection, and telepathy to his arsenal. As seen in Avengers, Age of Ultron, Hulk's more rage-fueled forms can be difficult to reason with, and he's especially vulnerable to psychic attacks, something Sentry could exploit. Smart Hulk might last longer tactically, but that version trades some raw strength for intellect and restraint. Sentry's telepathy would allow him to keep Hulk at a distance, as seen in Thunderbolts* when Sentry holds Red Guardian above New York City. While Hulk could definitely go rounds with Sentry physically, the lack of ranged attacks or mental defenses puts him at a significant disadvantage. In a prolonged fight, Sentry's versatility would likely wear Hulk down eventually. Hulk might be able to stand up for a while, but without the ability to counter Sentry's broader powers, he's ultimately the least equipped of the 5 most powerful Avengers to truly trouble him. Thor is mighty, but would struggle against Sentry's psionic powers. Thor boasts advanced physiology and lightning powers. Thor has battled some of the most formidable beings in the MCU, from Hela to Thanos. He has access to both mystical and physical powers that rival almost any hero. With Stormbreaker, his power surged significantly, allowing him to summon the Bifrost, channel immense energy, and even overpower a near-complete infinity gauntlet for a moment. Though while Thor's might and magical nature would make him one of Sentry's toughest physical opponents, it wouldn't be enough. Sentry is not only strong but psionically gifted. His comic counterpart has taken on entire teams of powerful heroes, and his MCU iteration retains a similar overwhelming presence. While Thor's divine nature and Asgardian physiology would protect him to some extent, it's been demonstrated in Avengers, Age of Ultron, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness that magical or psychic attacks can affect even gods. Thor could match Sentry strike for strike in close combat, and possibly counter some energy-based attacks with Mjolnir or Stormbreaker. However, Sentry's mental instability and telepathic manipulation would be a problem. If Sentry decides to attack Thor's mind or manipulate his perceptions, Thor's lack of mental shielding would become a vulnerability. It's not all one-sided. Thor's experience as a warrior and ability to summon lightning would likely hurt Sentry. However, much like Hulk, unless he landed a surprise god-level finishing blow early in the fight, Sentry's superior versatility and psionic prowess would begin to tilt the scales. 3 Captain Marvel would match Sentry physically, but would be vulnerable to Sentry's telepathic assaults. Captain Marvel has enhanced physiology and cosmic energy manipulation. Captain Marvel is arguably the most physically powerful Avenger in the MCU, at least in terms of raw strength, energy projection, and durability. Her binary form allows her to fly through space unaided, absorb and redirect energy, and take down massive threats with ease, as shown when she destroyed Thanos' fleet in Avengers, Endgame, or battled Darben in the Marvels. Against Sentry, her power level would make her one of the few Avengers who could keep up. Her ability to fly at high speeds, manipulate energy, and fight in three-dimensional space would make her one of the most mobile and tactically capable foes Sentry could face. In a physical or energy-based brawl, Captain Marvel could go toe-to-toe with Sentry longer than most. In fact, her durability might be the closest match to his, giving her time to adapt mid-battle. Yet the same issue that plagues Hulk and Thor affects her too: Sentry's psionic powers. Carol Danvers has never displayed strong mental defenses in the MCU. If Sentry were to focus on telepathic manipulation, illusions, or psychological warfare, she'd be exposed. With Sentry's unstable mind and tendency toward overwhelming force, that could be fatal. Still, Carol's tactical military mindset, combined with her physical abilities, would allow her to prolong the fight longer than Thor or Hulk. She's the kind of opponent who could press Sentry to his limits in a straight fight, but the battle would turn once it shifted away from pure force into the mental realm. Two Doctor Strange could challenge Sentry on most fronts. Doctor Strange is a master of the mystic arts. Doctor Strange might not seem like the obvious choice to challenge someone like Sentry, but he has one advantage most Avengers don't: versatility. As the Sorcerer Supreme, at least until recently, Strange commands a vast array of mystical tools, spells, and interdimensional knowledge. He's taken on Dormammu, contained multiversal threats, and fought off Scarlet Witch in Multiverse of Madness, using layered defenses, mirror dimensions, and time manipulation. In a confrontation with Sentry, Strange's strength would lie in keeping the battle from becoming physical. He could use portals, illusions, or alternate realities to keep Sentry disoriented and distracted. While Sentry's speed and power are overwhelming, Strange's magic has consistently bypassed brute force. His quick thinking, seen in his multi-armed assault in Avengers, Infinity War, or the Book of Vishanti sequence, would be key in surviving against a powerhouse like Sentry. The issue would be duration. Sentry's mental abilities could let him perceive through illusions, and his sheer power could overwhelm mystical defenses if prolonged. However, if anyone could trap Sentry in an alternate dimension or exploit his psychological instability with magical illusions, it's Strange. He might not beat Sentry, but he could contain or neutralize him temporarily. Strange's mind is also better defended than most, which would make Sentry's psionic attacks less effective than against others like Hulk or Captain Marvel. In a best-case scenario, Strange might outmaneuver Sentry long enough to trap or banish him if he acts quickly and creatively enough. One Scarlet Witch could unravel Sentry's fractured psyche. Wanda Maximoff wields intense magical abilities. Scarlet Witch, at her peak in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, may be the only Avenger who could truly threaten Sentry on every level. Her reality-warping chaos magic allows her to alter the fabric of existence, overpower powerful sorcerers, and tear through multiversal defenses. What makes her uniquely suited to battle Sentry is not just her immense power, but her ability to affect the mind and reality simultaneously. If Wanda were to engage Sentry, she could potentially exploit his psychological instability to trap him in a mental or magical prison. Her telekinetic power alone has overwhelmed groups of heroes, and her emotional instability mirrors Sentry's own, making her more likely to understand and manipulate his mental weaknesses. Of course, Sentry's speed and strength could end the fight quickly if Wanda were caught off guard. However, given how Wanda instantly neutralized threats like Black Bolt or Professor X in alternate universes, she's proven she can act with deadly speed and precision. Ultimately, Scarlet Witch could pose the most existential threat to Sentry in the MCU, not just because she can match him in raw power, but because she could turn his mind against him.